Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a little project for you today. I'm going to be working with this printable set from ArtfulEra Gallery. This is the Regency printables, and you can see here this is what they look like originally. I'm just going to kind of go through here. There's some like book pictures in here. There's also some book covers, like Regency era, kind of old school book covers here. There's even some pockets and things. And what I did is I actually took these and then I coffee dyed the back of them, and some of that coffee kind of bled through, which just aged the front of these in a fun way. And so what I'm going to do is kind of trim these down just a little bit. I have that white border on there, so I'm just folding those in half, and then I'm going to trim all of the pieces down to get them roughly in the same size. I'm not super concerned if they're a little bit different, as I'll have other size papers in there as well. And then I have this packaging from Amazon, which I absolutely love to use for covers like this because it's soft and it just has like a crinkly noise to it, if you like that kind of thing. I'm a very tactile person, so I actually really enjoy that. It just makes for a nice cover. And then just making sure that all of my little signature pieces here are going to fit inside that cover. It actually worked out perfectly. It's a little bit sticky from that label, but that's okay. I'm going to add some glue to close up the opening on there, and then I'm going to let that dry for a minute while I try to arrange these pages. So I want to have a good interest between sort of the book cover pages. I'm deciding which one of those I want to add to this journal. And there were so many printables in this kit that I literally could make a couple of journals. So I have some of the ones that have sort of more of blues in them. I have those kind of set aside, and I'll make a different journal out of those. These are kind of more like the yellows and pinks for this one. So I just kind of put those in place. I pulled out some papers from my stash, just a few, because I don't want this journal to get too chunky, but I did have a couple pieces of mulberry paper that I thought would be fun, one in a cream color and then one in this pink, and I'm just trying to decide where this would look best. And I do rearrange these multiple times. Some of the papers I end up folding the opposite direction. I just wanted a good mix between the book cover, the additional papers, the pictures of like the actual inner books there, and then the pattern papers as well. Really wanted to try to sort of mix that up. So adding this mulberry here to kind of break up the pattern there. I went back and forth with this a couple different times, and I'll do a flip through at the end so you can kind of see how this actually ended up, because this wasn't exactly like that. That white paper was actually some onion skin paper. This one is a foreign language book text. And then I have this one, and it's really kind of hard to tell on camera, but that one is actually a patterned paper that when I coffee dyed it, it kind of leaked through, and it made it look really cool too. So I did add a couple pages of music paper in there, and as I was adding that, I'm a little bit worried that the fold, because it's such old paper, it is going to need some reinforcing, so we will do that later. Here I am just getting ready to add the fabric to my cover. So I am using some vintage fabric. I've had this in my stash for a while. This is one of my favorites that I have. I have made a couple of journals out of it. There's something I just really enjoy about these big, bold florals on here. So I'm kind of arranging this very specifically so that that one big flower will kind of be on the bottom right-hand corner of the cover. And so I'm just trying to place that kind of where I want it. And then I'm going to roughly trim this down. You could cover this in a multitude of ways. You could certainly like sew this on. You could use glue. You can see I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to do this right here. Just really trying to make sure that I can get that flower exactly where I want. And then I'm just going to use my scissors and trim this down. And then I had thought about wrapping the fabric all the way around to the inside right here. And so this is kind of the decision I'm trying to make, but in the end, I decided not to do that. I felt like I would want something like a little bit more contrast on the middle. And so I have my piece sort of trimmed down, and then I thought I was recording and I wasn't. And so I covered the whole thing. So I just used some glue. I wrapped covers. If you've seen my channel before, you know, you've seen me do that a multitude of times. So I just added some paper on the inside, and now I'm going to add in my signature. So at this point is when I realized I need to add that some reinforcement to this music paper in particular because it's vintage music paper. It's very old, a little bit brittle. And so what I'm going to do is just reinforce it with some washi tape. I have this beautiful washi that has like a script on it, and I just thought it would go well with kind of some of the other scripty fonts that are on some of the pages. I'm just going to go all the way around and kind of wrap this back on itself just to make sure this is really, really well reinforced. And then there's another page of this music in this journal as well, so I will do that to both of these just to make sure that it doesn't tear out. And you can see I'm going to pull out that other piece and do the same thing there. And now I will put my signature together. I'm going to put a couple of clips on there just to hold everything in place while I am sewing. It just makes everything a little bit easier. I get asked about these clips all the time. I got mine at the grocery store in the automotive section. You can get them at Dollar Tree. The ones I have are very, very strong, and so I use them all the time. I have a book cradle here. You certainly don't need a book cradle. You could use just the gutter of an old book. I just happen to have this, and so it's a good method. And certainly if you chose to measure all of this, you absolutely could do that. This is just a single signature journal, so I'm not worried about it. I'm also going to be covering up the spine. So I'm going to be doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'm just punching my holes, one kind of in the center and then the other two about 1 inch from top and bottom. I have some waxed linen thread on a bookbinding needle, and I'm going to start from the middle hole and go to the outside. I just stabbed myself there for a second, just keeping it real today. And then I'm going to go back in the top section. You could go down to the bottom, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to go back into the middle of the signature. I was using my awl to kind of hold the place there, just kind of a little trick to help sometimes. And then I'm going to go all the way back down to the bottom hole and out to the outside cover, and then I will go back in through the middle section. And then whenever you are going back through that middle hole, just make sure that your needle doesn't pierce the thread that's already there. You will not be able to tighten down your stitches if you do that. So I'm just going to pull everything through here. Make sure that your tails are on either side of that long piece down the center. I'm tightening everything down, making sure on the outside that everything's nice and tight, and then I will tie my knot. I do this a couple times. I really like waxed linen thread for this too because it has, it's not sticky, but it has a little bit of a tack to it. So when you tie that knot, and then I end up tying a bow as well, it doesn't feel like it's going to slip out, if that makes sense. So I'm going to train that spine just a little bit because, again, this is just a big, envelope folded in half. And so I just kind of keep tending to that. But I wanted to add a little bit of this vintage lace. This was given to me by my friend Bobby, and so I'm very excited to use this. I actually trimmed this off of a larger piece just to cover the spine. And I would normally use like Fabri-Tac or something like that, but my Fabri-Tac needs to be replaced. It's having some issues. I'm down to the very, very last part, and it's very thick. I can't even hardly get it out of the bottle. So I'm just going to use my art glitter glue for this. It will work just as well. It still dries clear and everything. So I'm just adding this kind of to the thicker parts of the lace, if that makes sense, and just putting little dots of it all around. I don't want it to leak, to seep through the lace. And just kind of being mindful of where I am positioning that. And then I will just keep that, and I'm going to, again, work on that spine. And then I will trim off the excess because it was just a little bit too tall. And here I'm just going to flip through all these pages. So I still need to go back through, add my pockets, add like all of the other things. But this is just kind of the bones of this journal. So let me know if you'd like to see part 2 of that, where I do the decorating of the pages and everything. But for now, I just wanted to share this process with you. So if you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out ArtfulEra Gallery and the beautiful printables that she has over there. I am showing this other piece of lace here because I think I might actually create like a little lace pocket or something, but I will do that down the road as well. So again, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.